Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just, fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus the Twins. That's where it all starts. Because it all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lamson got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner.
Happy Sunday Fun Day, White Sox fans. Welcome in to the Sox on Tap post-game show. Jonnie Nonnie here with NWI Steve, breaking down a pair of White Sox winners. Steve, I guess good things come in pairs.
Hey, yo, Johnny. To quote Nuke LaLoosh from the classic movie Bull Durham, I like winning. It's like a lot better than losing, and nothing's better than winning a game on Sunday, but winning two.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you know, the snow out, not rain out on Friday caused this doubleheader to be played here. So a lot of storylines and an overall successful day for the White Sox. We'll get into all of that. But before we do, listeners, make sure you are going to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. You can find us on Twitter at Sox on Tap and the main account at OnTapSportsNet. For all your Chicago White Sox and Chicago sports merchandising needs, you can go check out Grandstand Sox. Follow them on social media at Grandstand Sox, or you can shop virtually online at grandstandsox.com. They've got all of your Southside needs covered right there at Grandstand. All right, Steve, let's get in. Just get right into the first game here. We got Dallas Keuchel taking the mound here. White Sox would take home this one 3-2. A little bit of a close game. Had some opportunities to blow it open more, but just initial thoughts here, takeaways from the first game.
Initial thoughts. Nice to see Timmy jump out in that very first pitch, give the Sox a lead right on the outset here to help Diamond Dallas there. And this was really the first time this season here that Dallas went out and showed the type of pitcher that he is. He was really aggressive, pounding the ball in the strike zone, getting a lot of ground balls up until that fifth inning when things kind of started to go awry a little bit. But this was the Dallas Keuchel that we have been accustomed to seeing last season here, and it was nice to finally see him emerge here in 2021.
Yeah, so 8 ground outs for Dallas Keuchel today. That was, over half the outs then because he went 5, so you got, 15 outs there. So, I agree, but until that, kind of slipped away from him a little bit, but still not too much damage. So I think we can live with that, and that's a good building block for Dallas Keuchel, especially, like you mentioned, after having a little bit of struggles earlier on in the season. So solid outing for Diamond Dallas there. Let's get into the scoring. Like you'd mentioned, Tim Anderson setting the tone for the day, really, not just this game, Steve, with a leadoff home run.
Yeah, first pitch of the game, Timmy looking to go out there, set the tone against a young pitcher, Tanner Houck, who was really pounding the strike zone himself and being very aggressive. And the Sox seem to have an approach very different from what we saw yesterday in the ballgame. They were going at pitches in the strike zone pretty early there, weren't working too many deep counts. Houck was, like I said, in the strike zone with regularity, and Timmy just jumped on that first pitch, and that was great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of spark that we've missed from Tim Anderson while he was on the injured list. So good to see him back, and good to see him back to doing it normal Tim Anderson things, which we've been so accustomed to since the 2019 season. So that put the Sox up 1-0 in the very top of the first, like we said, first pitch of the game. After that, we would go into the top of the fourth when the next scoring happened. And the White Sox could have had more here. Steve, frankly, they should have had more in this inning, but running it down how it happened, Brayu hits a 1-out single. Mercedes strikes out then, and Grandal finally comes through in the lineup finally again. And he hits he hits a double off the monster in a left center field to make this 2-0 White Sox. Unfortunately, Luis Robert pops out right after that. I guess this was not, I was jumping ahead of myself a little bit. Opportunities for later. So I guess the one run here I could live with there, but good to see Yaz going here with an RBI double.
Always nice to see your pick to click come through in a clutch spot, especially when it's a guy that you are hopeful is going to be in the lineup that you never really know is he going to be in. I was talking with Buzz about this yesterday on the postgame show. I thought and I anticipated he would be in there for this first game, but the way things have gone here to this point in 2021, it's really been just kind of a coin flip. So great to see Yaz finally make some positive contribute, as they would say in hockey parlance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that put the White Sox up 2-0 here in the top of the fourth. The Red Sox would get a run back in the bottom of the fourth. Martinez hits a one-out single. Bogarts ground out Devers with the single right after him. And then Hunter Renfroe hits a RBI infield single on a high chopper. Kind of a tough play for Yoan. Only chance he had was with the bare hand, so kind of hard to really gripe on that. Sure, it sucks when you see the ball kind of kick around after that behind him there, behind the bag at third. But either way, the Red Sox would get one run back here on this one. And luckily, it's not the White Sox doing some kind of, mental mistakes that cost them. They're, getting help because of someone else's mental mistakes. And that was Renfroe off the bag in between first and second. And Rafael Devers not figuring out a way to score for some reason on that play.
This was really interesting here because as you go back and if you watch the replay of this game, the camera angle was actually zoomed in on Yasmani Grandal's fingers. They're watching for the sequencing and watching for the pitches, and he kept giving the thumb. And for those of you that aren't really familiar with some of the signals that are used frequently in baseball, that thumb is often used for a pickoff attempt to first base right there. So Yaz obviously saw something in his mind there or saw something in his field of vision that said, hey, they're going to try something here. Go to first base. Let's get him caught up right there. So that's just Yaz being in tune in the game. And I thought that was a very pivotal moment right there because the Red Sox had the tying run on third base right there in that spot. You mentioned they got a run on really just an unfortunate bounce and a ball that had some backspin that Yoan tried to barehand, wasn't able to do it, but Yaz being in the game right there, and that's just being a savvy veteran right there, knowing, hey, this is a spot, go give me your best pickoff move and let's get a guy and let's get the hell out of this inning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it worked to perfection. So I agree with you on Yaz. Heads up play there by him calling for that pickoff. And then obviously thank you to Rafael Devers for not going home because you would still score even if they made the out at second there. As long as you touched the plate before, that's the rule, you would score and that would be a tie game there. But either way, Rafael Devers' mental mistake keeps the Red Sox down 2-1 at this point. We get into the top of the fifth inning and the White Sox would tack on once more. Lamb with his first White Sox hit, playing left field in this first game. Then Lurie pops out on a bunt. Never bunt is my only comment there. What the hell are you doing, Lurie? After that, Timmy shoots a single up the middle, a hit off of the pitcher's leg, make it first and third there for the Sox. Eaton strikes out, but then Yoan Moncada coming through. Big spot, 2-out RBI single, makes it 3-1. Abreu would ground out to end the inning. But hey, Steve, finally, you've been calling for it, asking for it, harping on it all this time. Runners in scoring position. White Sox finally come through. Thanks to Yoan Moncada.
Yeah, listen, Johnny, you love talking about being opportunistic out there, and this was a spot where this team needed it desperately, and especially coming from a guy like Yoan Moncada in the heart of the order, a guy that has had some struggles here to start the season off, to go out there, put together a quality at bat, and drive in that run. That's hopefully could potentially be a springboard to help getting him on track here because this team desperately needs him to get going here, but really nice to see him come through on that spot.
Yeah, and that was from the right side of the plate too, should be noted. So not his usual strong side, but either way, him getting it done. That's kind of, it's been tough go overall for Yoan Moncada. Obviously, when you just look at the straight up numbers, average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, all of that stuff so far. But there have been a few like multi-hit games, and then this one only one hit in this game, but it came at the best time possible. So that was good because this would end up being the game-winning run. Steve, I know when Tony and I are on here, since we're kind of still in hockey season mode, we always talk about game-winning goals over at Four Feathers Podcast. We'll talk about game-winning hits, game-winning runs. Yoan Moncada, game-winning hit here. And of course, this is in the top of the fifth. As we get to the bottom of the sixth, Red Sox would strike back for one more with a Kike Hernandez cheap Fenway home run down the line. But hey,
absolute garbage.
That's the ballpark. I'm sure we'd be loving it if someone just hit a poke out that should have been a fly out and it counted for a run for us on the other side. So that's Fenway. Sometimes you're going to get that when you're playing at ballpark with those odd dimensions like that. So that was it though for the extent of the scoring there. White Sox at that point after the home run, they would go to Aaron Bummer. Verdugo hits a single, but then Bummer rolls up Martinez into a double play, and then Bogart strikes out to end the inning. this was despite Yoan Moncada, he was only 1 for 3. Obviously, we talked about the big hit, so that's good. But in the field, he had a really solid game in the first contest today, Steve.
He really did. And also want to give a shout out to Jose Abreu over at first base, making a couple of really nice picks over there to finish off the back end, a couple of those double plays there. And we've, as a group collectively here, really harped on the poor defense to this point in the season. Today was really the opposite of that. And really, this is kind of how the White Sox team drew this thing up at the start of the season, is get quality starting pitching and get you to that back end of the bullpen, some good defense. And we really saw that today. And this first game was really no exception. And like you said, that really set the tone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, a solid day all around for Yoan. I'd say, especially in the first game, within the, other kind of game notes here. Obviously, Keuchel runs out of gas a little bit there after the 5th, but good for him to get him to that point. And then seeing Bummer too, I think that's big too, Steve, because Aaron Bummer hasn't gone as swimmingly as many expected so far. But hey, we all know the stuff is nasty. We know we can get guys to roll over just like he did today. So good to see him starting to come back into the Aaron Bummer form that we all know and love. So I like to see that. Other than that, Liam Hendricks locks down a save here in this one. Nice to see. Only, very little drama. I think there's only one single interlaced in there. So that was it. What are your final observations from game 1? And then we'll get on to the second half of this twin bill.
That was just a very good, crisp ball game. Like I said, how this team has drawn it up. You get a good outing out of Dallas Keuchel. You get some timely hits. Bullpen does its job, and like you said, Aaron Bummer there, nice quality bounce back outing, and Liam Hendricks nailing it down. That's how they draw it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, we talk about the graphics that they posted leading up to the season, close the door with the kind of Hendricks and Bummer interlaced on either side of it and, looking all menacing with the faces and whatnot. That's what they did today. So that was in full effect. You love to see it. Close the door. That is what happened. We'll close the door on game 1 there. Once again, White Sox take that one 3-2. Now we move on to game 2 of this Sunday doubleheader, and it would be another White Sox winner by a score of 5-1. So the big storyline here coming in. Unfortunately, Lance Lynn heads the IL. That was a bit of news that was interspersed there. So Zach Birdie gets the recall from the taxi squad alternate site, whatever they're calling it this year. But Michael Kopech gets the nod because they wanted to see how bullpenning played out in game 1, how they would use that. And Kopech was not used during that one, obviously. So he gets a nod here. What'd you like? What you didn't like from Michael Kopech today? A lot to like.
I liked pretty much all of it. This was very much what we have seen from Michael Kopech here to this point in the 2021 season. Aside from he had a little bit of a rough outing this past Thursday against the Indians, just came out there again, was filling the strike zone, was utilizing that fastball up in the strike zone and up out of the strike zone to get swings and misses, complementing that with a nice, good, hard slider and really playing those two off of each other, changing eye levels of the hitters, and just had some really strong sequencing going there. He was really working pretty well with Zach Collins, commanding that fastball. This is the guy that we all were hoping for. And I know that I had some doubts and I had some questions about whether or not he was going to be able to be this guy coming off the long layoff. He has answered those questions resoundingly to this point, and it has been just absolutely awesome to see. And you can just see the confidence is just really building with this guy right now. He feels like he can go out there and just take it and shove it up anybody's ass in the batter's box right now, and I love it.
Elaborating on that last point, Steve, he has a level of tenacity and intensity that I'm going to get you out, that attitude, and that was on full display today. When he go at least the first 9 were straight up, straight down. So perfect through that first time through the order. But overall from Kopech, just a few notes on the start here. First time I had to pull out the date calculator here, the date duration, 956 days between MLB starts for Michael Kopech. Wild. Obviously, we all know the scenario with Tommy John and then the opting out of 2020 and finally back here in the bullpen to start. So that's what puts that length up there. But I could not think of a better scenario in a doubleheader, 7-inning game. That's the best way to utilize Michael Kopech, because even if he only goes, what he did today, the length, was it 3 total? Would it end up being for Michael Kopech?
Yeah.
He total, and obviously get 3+ because he did get into that fourth inning. But either way, that gives you a good chunk of the game, just with the fewer innings there. So I like the usage of Kopech to start here, and like you mentioned, all the factors about him having that kind of kick-ass mentality on the mound. That was on full display here today. Stuff was crisp, so good to see that. Let's get into the scoring of this game. In the top of the first, White Sox would start off hot. Madrigal single, Robert singles, Yohan Moncada singles, deflected off of Bogart's glove on that one. And then unfortunately, Abreu grounds into a fielder's choice at second. That would plate a run, and that is all the White Sox would get because Yerman strikes out and Lurie flew out after that. You got it. I know the White Sox ended up winning this game 5-1, and they would have another opportunity similar to this, and they would only score one run during that opportunity as well. These just go back to the RISP issues that we have discussed at length, ad nauseum to this point here. But we're going to keep harping on it as long as they keep failing to execute properly.
100%. And it's funny because we were obviously in our group text chat talking about this. And I think we were all collectively ready to throw our TVs off of a balcony or through a window, whatever you had nearby you after that first inning, having the bases loaded, nobody out, only getting a run thanks to a ground ball fielder's choice. And it's particularly interesting for me looking at Jose Abreu in that particular spot, because this is a guy that, 2 years ago led the league in RBIs. Last year was the American League MVP. And this year he's off to a very slow start and a very uncharacteristic start in a number of ways. If you look at his batted ball profile, this is something I'm digging a little bit deeper into, and I'm going to have a full article for everybody to view on Tap Sports that should be out here by Tuesday. I want to get some of the final data from this last game in the Boston series. There's some really fascinating stuff going on, so be on the lookout for that.
Yep, I'll keep it stupid, simple. Tongue twister there. He's pounding the ball into the ground. That is the ultimate thing here, and obviously evidenced by grounding into double plays, grounding into fielders' choices here. So I'll leave it at that. White Sox should have had more in the first, but they would get on the board again in the fourth, thanks to another Yerman absolute bomb. Steve, when this guy hits it, it's only massive bombs. You described it as absolutely nuked. I'd said massive bombs only. Every single time it's extreme. Launch angle is good. The exit velocity is always through the roof, and the distances are impressive as hell.
Listen, I don't know that Yermin Mercedes is going to hit a cheap home run here in the 2021 season. When this guy swings, particularly when he is ahead in hitters counts, he swings to do damage, and then he alters his approach if he's behind an account, just looking to put the bat on the ball there. So he really kind of has two offensive approaches. But when this guy puts everything into this thing, man, he hits some absolute nukes. Jonnie, you're muted.
Thank you for catching that. Yeah, no, Yerminated. Balls. He just destroys baseballs. So that's the bottom line there. This was make it 2-0 in the top of the fourth for the White Sox here. It wouldn't be done though. Lurie Garcia with an infield single that goes off the pitcher's glove. So another little bit fortuitous bounce for the White Sox. Andrew Vaughn grounds out to move. Garcia to second. Collins strikes out, but Danny Mendick will duck snort into center. I would have loved to hear Hawk on the call for this one. That makes it 3-0 White Sox. Mendick moves to second on errant throw then. Vasquez trying to pick him off from the catcher position. And then Nicky Madrigal. Little Nicky coming through with an RBI double. Obviously, it was kind of like single length, but he hustled it out, got to second, makes it 4-0 White Sox here. Robert would line out to end that inning, but I like this one. It kind of getting a little momentum, I think, a little juice on the bench from that Yerman home run. I mean, how can you not seeing the ball fly that hard and far? And the rest of the guys scrap together some runs to give the White Sox a 4-0 lead here.
Yeah, Jonnie, listen, you talk, and again, we talk as a group about adding on runs when you have an opportunity and trying to step on a team's neck when you've got a chance to put a game away. That's really what we saw in this particular inning here. And it looked like it was kind of be the same old thing happening here. Like they were going to waste another opportunity. And Danny Mendick, I've been talking about this and I've been harping on this for a little while here, that listen, somebody's got to step up and somebody's got to say, I've had enough of this bullshit. I'm going to be the one to get the job done and step up and do it. Danny Mennick did that, got a little bit of luck kind of hitting that ball into no man's land and some poor communication between Verdugo and Kike Hernandez on that particular ball. And then Nick Madrigal coming through, adding in that fourth insurance run. And that's a huge run right there. And listen, I've been very critical of Nick Madrigal. Okay. I'm not going to shy away from that. I got to give Madrigal a lot of credit here for the way he played in this second game here today. Obviously getting things started in that first inning right there earlier today. And then this big hit right here in this spot to really, in some ways, that kind of put this game away right there. So really had a very positive day at the plate, made a lot of positive contributions out there. So really job well done today from Slappy.
Yeah, I'd say he provided the backbreaker run of sorts. You call it dagger in basketball. It's kind of a backbreaker, like you said, with Nick Madrigal's RBI double there to kind of really put it even more out of reach there. Because 3 feels a little more attainable than 4. If they feel like it feels like a bigger gap than 1 run once you get up there, especially with the way White Sox pitchers were throwing today. So in the bottom of the 4th, the Red Sox would get 1 back, though. It was Hernandez leading off with a walk, Verdugo singles, and this would mark the end for Michael Kopech on the day. Like we mentioned, 3 innings for him, 1 hit, 1 run. It was earned. We'll get to how that came in here in a second. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. So overall, it's really solid start here from Michael Kopech. Matt Foster would come into the game at this point, though, with 2 on, nobody out. Martinez hits an RBI single. Sometimes good hitters get theirs, and JD Martinez is a good hitter. He got his there. That gets the Red Sox on the board, makes it 4-1. White Sox still lead. But then Foster would get Bogarts to fly out to deep center. It was close. He hit it really hard, but hey, still take the out. And then Devers pops out, and Gonzalez flies out to end this thing. So that was the only run that would come across for Michael Kopech. As we're talking about him finishing up Michael's Kopech day, because this would close the book on his line here. Let's look at a question from Iowa Zach. Did you see enough today for Michael Kopech to pencil him in for more regular starts or stay cautious? I'll let you go ahead and answer that first, and then I have a take on that as well.
Got a similar question with Buzz last night on the pod here, obviously talking about Dylan Cease and his perspective. I don't think that, given the innings limit that Michael Kopech is going to be on here in the 2021 season, we're going to see him shifted into the rotation. I would say probably not till August at the earliest, if it even happens. Steve Stone is pretty adamant that this is something that we're not going to see happen at all in 2021. I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. But if it does happen, I wouldn't anticipate it happening up until August, because this team believes that they are going to be playing meaningful baseball games late in September and into October. And they want Michael Kopech to be providing innings during that critical time frame right there. They're not going to be able to do that, and they're not going to be able to have Michael Kopech there in pivotal situations if they insert him into the starting rotation now because of that particular innings limit. So I think the way that they are approaching this right now, utilizing him in a multi-inning reliever type role to allow him to build up some innings here, I think this is really the appropriate approach to take with him. And then, like I said, after the trade deadline at some point, maybe in August here, if Dylan Cease still has not corrected some of the issues that he has at that point, then I think you have to give real serious consideration to then shifting him with Kopech.
Well, I said I had comments, but you basically stole all the words out of my mouth. I agree with you. I think they do have an innings limit in place there that, is kind of known within the organization, but then, we're just kind of left to see him when we do see him out of the pen. And he's been effective in that role. So I'd go back to, putting him there, getting back to, you get through what you only got to cover 1 start. Lynn doesn't sound like it's too serious. So he should only miss 1 in this, upcoming stretch of him going on the 10-day IL. I would go back to the bullpen, keep getting some of those extended relief appearances like you had mentioned. And then when it comes to crunch time and you make some decisions later down the line and maybe want some more effective in that role. And if he's earned it, I could definitely see that being a thing. But either way, I like the build up for it. And this is a perfect opportunity to do it in a shortened game here. So kind of, think about it. Sure, he was starting the game, but that's essentially, it's been more 2 innings, but he could easily have gone 3 innings in a game so far. There were times where he was taken out before, and we were kind of debating, would you have left Kopech in, yada, yada. So either way, wherever the 3 innings are coming, you got 3 of them from him today. So 3+ technically, but either way, to answer Zach's question, stay a little cautious for now and keep him so you can utilize him when you're playing those meaningful games down the stretch of the season. So that wraps up that question. Let's get back to the action here. White Sox would add on 1 more in the top of the 6th like Steve. Lurie Garcia with another infield single. He's the king of those. And then Andrew Vaughn with a double. He hit a nice ball opposite way down the line. Zach Collins walks. Mendick flies out. And then Nicky Madrigal coming through again. Sack fly here. 5-1 White Sox. Robert flew out to end the inning. Probably could add more there too, but that's all right. That's all the White Sox would need after this. After Foster was in, you had Crochet in to clean up just a third of an inning there. One hit, struck out. There's one out that he needed. Marshall with the clean inning, and then Liam Hendricks with another save. Excuse me, not a save today on this one, but another closing out the game. So excellent to see, and for the most part, fairly crisp on the White Sox part, minus the RISP issues that will be talked about, I'm imagining, all season.
Yeah, listen, really solid, really nice to see Matt Foster, have a nice bounce back outing. He's been knocked around a couple of times here in the early going, so good to see him go out there, have a positive outing, get through this. He obviously did allow the one inherited run to score from Michael Kopech, but as you mentioned, look, you're going up against JD Martinez, a guy who is one of the best and most complete all-around hitters in the game of baseball, and a guy that is scorching hot right now to start the season. So you give up a hit to him in that spot. Look, sometimes you just got to tip your cap to him. He was able to rebound off of that and then get through it, not giving up any additional runs right there. So hopefully that's a building block for him. Evan Marshall, again, coughed up a home run yesterday to Marwin Gonzalez. Good to see him have a nice bounce back outing here. That's, a couple of, the last week or so, Evan Marshall's been throwing the ball a lot better here. So it looks like some of the issues in the bullpen here are starting to stabilize a little bit, which I know I was someone that was very much a believer that was going to happen here. And I think as we look at the pitching overall here, things have been stabilizing and getting, I'd say, back to somewhat to some level of normalcy here. And I think that this is a trend that's going to continue here going forward, but just need to see the starters continue here to provide length to limit the amount of the outs that the bullpen have to cover.
Yep, good points. Only a couple of supplementary ones. 3 runs through 14 innings. I think we'll take that. That's a solid outing for pitching all around, both starters and relievers on this. And then also, you talked about Evan Marshall there. Happy birthday to Evan Marshall. On this podcast, we celebrate Evan Marshall's birthday. Love that guy. He's awesome. So happy birthday to Evan Marshall. Good to see him work a clean one, especially, like you mentioned, after giving up the home run yesterday. So any final observations for this one? Then we can look forward to the series finale here.
No, like I said, this was just a nice, crisp, solid day of baseball. Going in there, getting 2 big wins on the road against a team that has been playing well overall. And the White Sox executed and played pretty good, strong baseball here. And let's hope that this continues.
Yep, clean. Love to see a sweep. Only like I said, the 7-inning games, 14 innings, but hey, that's just the way it goes, and I think it's smart to do that. Especially helps with making in these rainouts and not having to make a trip to Boston and they play some weird sort of scheduling thing that would eliminate an off day later in the season. So White Sox take that second game once again, final 5-1 to complete the Sunday sweep. All right, let's look ahead. We do have an odd 4-game set in the manner that it finishes on Monday here, and it is also a 10:10 a.m. Central Time start, so a little more standard out there, an early matinee, 11:10 out in Boston, but it will be Nathan Eovaldi for the Red Sox versus Lucas Giolito, ace back on the rubber for the White Sox here. What are you expecting from this one? Eovaldi, Giolito, I imagine it's going to be a pretty solid pitching matchup.
Yeah, that's what I'm anticipating. I'm looking for this to be a pretty low-scoring affair overall with 2 guys that are seemingly locked in to start the season. Nathan Eovaldi has really taken the ball and done a very solid job for Boston here in his couple of starts to begin the season. This is a guy that's going to come at you with a very hard fastball right from the outset. This is a guy that has top 5 average fastball velocity. He's going to use that early, and he's going to use that often. So hitters got to be dialed up in this one, got to be prepared for that, and then he's going to use, obviously, a nice, hard, complementary biting slider to go along with that to help change eye levels and try to keep the bats a little bit off from a timing perspective. So hopefully, the guys are geared up and ready for that.
Yeah, no, I would agree. You talk about Eovaldi being a hard thrower. So that's definitely something to look out for. White Sox walked a total of 2 times today. So I'd like to see a little more patience too. With a guy like that, maybe, wait him out a little bit and, utilize what you can if you're not able to spray the ball around and string together some hits like you were able to today. Maybe a different story tomorrow. You just never know what the next day is going to bring. So I would say that, the White Sox have done a good job for the most part on the year of drawing walks. I'd like to see them get back to a little bit of that as well, to supplement themselves with some more base runners here. Other than that, Lucas Giolito coming back out, a really solid, exciting, fun game to watch on his last time out against Shane Bieber, a great pitcher's duel. Not the same caliber of starter that you're getting in Eovaldi as Bieber, obviously, but still, nonetheless, going to be another good pitching matchup. Lucas Giolito always seems to find himself in these, so I'm looking forward to just another, pretty what we expect from Lucas Giolito at this point. I mean, he wasn't bad by any means. The White Sox weren't able to score any runs for him, but once again, consider who they were going up against last time out, and I think the White Sox should be able to take 3 or 4 here. What are your predictions?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Sox are going to steal one 2-1. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump the gun here on my pick-to-click prediction here. I think Luis Robert is going to provide the deciding blow with a late-inning home run here. Really nice to see some of the adjustments that he's making early on in this season. He's having some really strong at-bats. Really seems to be getting a better sense as far as how opposing pitchers are trying to attack him, and he's looking to take away some of those weaknesses as they're trying to utilize those breaking balls on the outer third of the plate. And we really saw him go the other way with that today, hitting that double early on. But he's had several multi-hit games of late, and I think he's going to put one over the monster here to decide it tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Luis Robert has been in some flyouts today. That seemed to be the thing. After the White Sox would score some runs, it seemed he was ending the innings with some flyouts or lineouts there. So I like that prediction. Could easily see one going over the monster for Mr. Luis Robert. As for my pick to click in this game, not a whole lot of experience against Eovaldi, but Yoan Moncada is the only one with a hit off of him. So I'm going to go with Yo-Yo. I feel like I pick him very frequently here, but I believe in him, and I just think that it's only a matter of time before it really. I think today's instance of the 2-out RBI single from the right side could help build some more confidence. Kind of getting that collectively for him going. So I'll go with him in the series finale once again. 10:10 a.m. start on the East. It's Central Time, 11:10 out East. Game will be on NBC Sports Chicago. So a little Monday early morning baseball. Love baseball anytime, but hey, that's a good time. One time you're usually not watching it. So any final thoughts here, shout outs, and then we can wrap this up.
Just find a way to go out and win this ball game tomorrow. Get 3 out of 4 in a tough place to play against a team that was going hot. Set the tone, and then go into Cleveland here. Let's pound out this road trip.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give a little shout out to Brandon Stokes and White Sox Sal today. They both asked us if splitting, sweeping doubleheaders is cool and tough. And I think our guy Tony Marchese put it best right there. Doubleheader sweeps are indeed cool and tough. I would say double cool and tough. So that's my final thoughts. Let's get the hell out of here. Once again, go to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Follow us on Twitter at Sox on Tap and at OnTap Sportsnet. Make sure you're going to Grandstand for all of your White Sox merchandise. GrandstandSox.com to shop online and follow them on social media for more content at Grandstand Sox. That wraps it up for this Sunday Funday edition of Sox on Tap. Good things come in pairs. White Sox, pair of winners today in Boston. Steve, until next time, White Sox forever.
White Sox for life.